Welcome back to MINITAB Assignment 1 Help, Part 3. We finished making our pie chart last time. Now all we're going to do is we're going to copy and paste that pie chart into our MINITAB assignment. So I go in here and I get my pie chart, and as long as it's highlighted, I know that it's where the cursor's at. So I'm going to do Control C, and now I'm going to put it in my document. My MINITAB document. I'm going to say, here's my pie chart, and make some room for the pie chart. I'm going to get rid of that. I do another space, otherwise I'm going to get a bunch of formatting problems. Do Control V, and my graph will appear. I left click on the graph to get the blue lines to go, and then I'm ready to size the graph. I take that and I make it just a little bit smaller. Like that. Now if you look, if I want to get problem 2 all on one page, since there's only a little part here, what I could have done is some formatting. What I mean by that is I can insert a page break. And that might have been good to start question 2 right here at the top. So we'll have question 2 right here and start going from here. So I've got my pie chart. Now I'm ready to do my percent frequency bar chart. Because part C says construct a relative frequency bar graph. Make sure you have a good graph and titles and your label. So I type in relative frequency bar graph, make sure that I leave some, my next part, and then let's go in here and make sure that I've made room to put the bar graph in there. Make an extra space. There. Okay, so now let's make our bar graph. Now again, I can use the commands, or I could just go into my graph, go to bar, they call it bar chart, it's a bar graph, hit OK, and do the default, MINITAB's default bar graph. That just means I have to change some of the titles around and make the changes that are necessary. Now with the bar graph, this is exactly what we want for qualitative data, that they're equally separated apart and that they're labeled nicely. Now one thing is, I need to change this, not chart of color, but I need distribution of the color of cars for our sample of 100. So I'm going to do that. I hit OK after I type that in, and now I'm ready to do a better label. Don't just leave it color or you'll have points taken off. It's the color of what? Be more specific. Now the other thing is that they wanted the relative frequency. This is in counts. When we're dealing with bar graphs, that means we're going to change the graph. So we're going to right click and we're going to say graph options. And for the graph options, we want it to be in percents, show as percents, and hit OK. Now we've got a relative frequency bar graph. Now we're ready to copy that, Control C, and put it into our document. It's all ready to go. Control V is how you paste it, or you could right click and hit paste. And then we're ready to size it with just by tapping on it and seeing the blue lines. We have that, and we resize it to be close to the other one. We want them to be relatively the same size if we can get it. Always nice. So there we have our bar graph. Now it's time to answer the questions in complete sentences for both of the questions that are asked. So you're going to answer your questions in complete sentences, and you are finished with this MINITAB. And the questions go, if you were the owner of the car dealership, look at the above chart. What color car would you make sure you had in stock? That is, what color is most popular? And then what percent of cars are in the others categories? So in Part E, what percent of cars are in the other category? You read that straight off your graph, and you'd have your answer, but make sure you answer it in a complete sentence. Well, this concludes MINITAB 1. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope it was helpful.